Okay, so we are looking at the last couple of drawings in module 2 in our intermediate drawing section, and we're going to have a look at the array command with these drawings. I'm going to do a demo of the Geneva Cam here, so let's look at the assignment for the Geneva Cam. So in this one we're going to be using the polar array. In fact, we're introducing the polar array command. Everything else we've done before. The geometry for this is going to be a bit of a challenge, so that's why I think this is a good one to do the lecture from. It's a metric drawing, so we're going to be starting with the MVCC mechanical metric template. We're going to add center lines, we're going to use layers, we are not going to add dimensions, and we're going to print it on an ISO A4 layout. Okay, so let's look at the drawing real quick. Here's the drawing of the Geneva Cam. All right, so it's a cam mechanism, actually a Geneva Cam mechanism, so that this is typical for that kind of shape, which is perfect for an array command because we have complex geometry here, but it's repeated over a certain pattern. All right, and in this pattern we have a circular pattern which AutoCAD uses the polar array for. So when you can see the geometry here is kind of challenging, so it's a fun drawing to do, and I think we should just go ahead and jump into it then. Okay. So let's shrink this down and we will bring up AutoCAD. So we're going to start the drawing with the metric template. Here we go. And we want to try to figure out, okay, so again, how are we going to get started? Well, one of the rules of thumb that I use is to see if there's some geometry that can be used as anchor points. And oftentimes the anchor points are going to be holes or cylinders in my shape. I'm talking about three-dimensional shapes because usually that's what we're drawing is two-dimensional views of three-dimensional shapes. So in this Geneva Cam mechanism here, it seems like everything is oriented around this center. And in fact, we have these circles that we can put out. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm just going to start with the circle command, and we'll put a center right about there, and we will draw this at 25.4 diameter. Now let me bring this over so we can talk about this because I don't think we've seen tolerances before. So you see this dimension right here. That is the diameter of this small inner circle right here. Okay, that dimension is a tolerance dimension. That's a manufacturing instruction that says that you can make that hole between 25.4 millimeters and 25.35 millimeters. So you can't go above or below that diameter hole size. Anything in between those numbers is good to go for manufacturing. Now, for drawing purposes, for CAD, we can draw within any number, at any number within this range. So I chose 25.4, but in fact you could choose diameter 25.35, 25.37, 25.39. It really doesn't matter, any number within that. I usually opt for the easiest number, you know, the most number with the fewest decimal places and all that stuff. All right, so so with that being said, like I got started there, let's go and let's put another circle in here. So we got a series of circles that we can draw here, and you'll just have to kind of keep track of which one we're doing. That's the diameter of 45. Now I'm going to draw the circle that is actually going to be a center line circle, and it's this one right here, which is a diameter of 77. And just so that I'm clear, that I don't get confused, I'm going to change my layer to the center layer, because that's the layer that I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to draw my circle right there, and it's a diameter 77. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the visible layer. So that just gives me a visual reminder. And what else? I think we got one more circle that we're going to draw here. And let me bring this across. And what we're going to do is this outermost circle. So the whole Geneva Cam mechanism is a big circle that's just interrupted with these scallop features, right? And the diameter, or excuse me, the radius of this is a radius of 73. Okay. So that's the last circle that I'm going to put in there, and I'll do center radius and choose that, and 73. Okay, there we go. All right, now yeah, so what are we going to do from here? All right, so let's go ahead and get one of these features in here. So when we're using the array command, it's important to recognize one complete shape that we're then going to create our pattern from to make our array. Okay, so I've noticed that we have this scallop feature repeated, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. We also have this slot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 of that as well. And really, if I look at this area right here, that's really one complete pattern that's repeated. So if I have half of this and this scallop, or in fact, one of these slots, maybe the one at 12 o'clock here, and one scallop feature, then I can repeat that in my array 6 times. All right, so let's try to do that. Okay, so first let's work on the slot here. And to get the slot, I'm going to, how do I want to approach that? I think we can draw a circle with a, let's see, what is that? With a diameter of 13 here. We see diameter of 13 right there. Okay, for the slot width. So we'll go right here, diameter, and now I want to grab hold of this position on this center circle, center line circle. What position is that? Well, it's not center, right? There's no endpoint. It's not tangent, right? In fact, that's what we call a quadrant. Remember, quadrants are the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions on a circle or a curve. So I'm going to go down here to my objects, my object snap, sorry. And I'm going to turn on quadrant, right? And then there we go right there. And I'm going to draw my circle with a radius of 13. Okay. Now, here's my first warning on this. We need to draw lines that are vertical lines from here. Okay, vertical lines. We want to be careful not to draw from this intersection right here, because if we draw from this intersection vertical lines, notice what we get. Okay, we get the line cutting into the circle, which is not correct. All right, so with quadrant still on, I want to make sure that I draw a line from the quadrant, that is the 9 o'clock position, due north. Right, and I can draw it up, and I have object snap intersection on, so it's going to stop it right there. I can hit enter. I can go back to the line command, grab that quadrant, and draw it up due north, and hit enter. Okay. Now, so I have that slot done. I can trim out this stuff, and here's another little tip. Okay, watch. I trim this out. I want to make sure that I trim it out to the line, right? Not past the line, but to the line, right? So I did that correctly, right? Now, I could trim this out, but I'm going to leave that in here right now. You'll see it's not, we can't array a gap in there, so it really doesn't matter, but you'll see what I'm talking about. And now we want to put the angle, the scallop feature in here. All right. And This is going to be a little interesting. Okay, so let me bring this drawing back over here. So in order for me to draw the scallop at this position, right, which is kind of like at the, 12, 1, 2, 1 or 2 o'clock position right here, I need to know that angle. And I don't know that angle. I could probably figure out that angle, but, again, we want to use the drawing as much as possible. I do know this, right, is a radius 32. Okay, and I can get these features right there. So let me do this. I'm going to draw here. Let's bring this back here. A radius of 92. I'm going to go from here with a radius of 92. And I'm going to draw another circle with a radius of 32, but from this quadrant, 32. Okay. Now let me bring that back across so you can see what I've done. Okay. So this shape right here is that arc. All right. Radius 32. There's 6 of them. And it's from a radius of 92 right there, which is that circle right there. Okay. So I have the shape that I need. I just need to trim it out. Okay. So let's go like this. And let's complete this. I actually don't need this line, this circle now, so I'm just going to erase that. I can trim this out. And again, I'll leave that in there. I don't think there's any, I'll trim that out later is what I'm saying. There's no point in trimming it now because nothing's going to happen with it. All right, so I have one slot. I need 6 of them. I have one scallop edge. I need 6 of those. So we need to go to the array command. All right. Now I could array these. In fact, I'll do this array twice just to show you. But I can array them separately, right? So this shape, this slot, I can array that, and then I'll array this, and then I'll array them together just to show you that you can. So the array command is right there under modify, and we want to expand this command so that we can find the polar array. So I'm going to choose polar. And we're going to select the objects that we want to array. Okay, so remember, first thing I want to do is the slot. So I'm just going to window, click over here, and just window that and hit enter. And then it says specify the center point of the array. And that's the point that we're rotating around. And the point we're rotating all of this around is the center of the object, which is right there. Okay, you want to use object snap when you pick this. So we pick that. And we get this, okay? And also we get up here. So now we got to talk about stuff, okay? Now we got to talk about stuff. So we're in the polar array ribbon, right? Array creation ribbon, polar type. And we have a series of panels here. We have items. This is for the number of items. Now, whenever you see these areas with array, so here items and here rows and here's levels, you always need 2 out of these 3 entries. So I need either the number of items and the angle between, or the number of items and the total degrees, or the angle between and the total degrees, or you get the idea. I need 2 out of these 3. In fact, in this case, I know I need 6, and I know I need it to be 360 degrees. So I'm going to keep those. That's all good. 360 degrees is a complete circle, and I know there's 6 total items. Okay. Remember that when we're counting the number of items, we're counting the original, right? We're counting the one that we started with. So we need a total of 6, not 5, because we need 5 plus 1, but 6. Okay. We don't need any rows because that's not what we're drawing, right? We just want one array around here. And levels is a 3-dimensional features so that we can go up in the Z direction. And again, we don't want any level, so we want one row and we want one level, okay? Now, let's play around with this, okay? So first of all, you can see that rotate items and direction are highlighted already. These are on. These are like toggles, okay? So they're on. Let me get a good view there. If I turn off rotate items, right, then it's going to array this without rotating these around the center. So watch how goofy this looks. All right, do we want that? No, I don't think we do. So let's click on rotate items and turn that back on. Okay, so good. Now, direction. That means, do we want to array this clockwise or counterclockwise? Since we're going 360 degrees, the direction doesn't matter. All right, but if we click on this, you can see it switches that arrow. If I go to, let's say, 270 degrees here, you should be able to see. Maybe if I, there we go, it updated. It takes a while to update. Now, if I change direction, you can see. So right now we're going counterclockwise. If I click on that, it goes clockwise, and you see it shifts. And if I click on this, it goes back to counterclockwise. Now, in fact, again, we don't want that, so we go back to 360. All I'm doing is clicking in here, and then it automatically updates. So the direction doesn't matter. Rotate items we want. Do I want to change my base point? No, I don't want to change my base point. My base point is good. This is where we would be able to change our base point. Now, the last question is associative. All right, now I'm actually going to do this. I'll do this a few times, right? But I'm going to do it with associative on to show you what happens. So I'm going to turn associative on. Nothing changes here. And let's close our array. And then there we go. All right, now, let's say, for instance, that I wanted to do this array, but then I needed to erase this one over here, right? So I was going to erase 6 and then erase 1 because everything else is equal. Now notice as I hover over this, everything is highlighted. All these slots are. That's what associative does. Associative connects everything together. So this whole array is all associative, meaning that all of these features that I arrayed are all stuck together now. So if I click on this and try to delete it, well, I can't do that, right? If I delete it, everything goes away, right? So if I can't, what can I do with associative? Well, I can kind of edit this on the fly. So notice when I click on this, it brings back up the array edit ribbon. So I can change all these settings. I can go back to maybe 180. Let's see if it's going to update. There we go. So I can go with it being associative. I can go back and edit my array, kind of go back in time and fix any goof ups that I did or adjust or whatever. What I can't do is I can't get rid of my objects. Okay, I can't trim them. I can't change anything about them. All right. Now, in this case, that's probably not such a big deal, right? I could do this as an associative array. In fact, I'm going to go back to my original, and I'll do it now as a non-associative array and show you. So let's go to array. We pick this. We hit enter. We pick the center. Now we go up here. 360 is good. Everything else is good. Rotate items, that's good. This is not associative. I'll say close array and go out of this. Now watch. Can I delete that? Yeah, look at that. See, now everything is separate, right? Which is fine in this case. So should you do associative or not associative? In this example, it really doesn't matter. In some examples, in some drawings, you definitely want it to be associative, especially if you think or have a feeling that you're going to be manipulating the array later on down the road in the future. Other times when you know you're going to be editing some of the features, you definitely want to do a non-associative array. Okay. All right. So we got that in there. Let's go ahead and do the second one. So we go back to array. We select this object. We hit enter. We choose the center point of the array, and it brings us up. We want 360 again. Non-associative find rotate objects, yes, just as before. Everything is good here, right? Because it's really the same array. So it remembers the settings from the first one. We close the array, okay? And now we can trim out some of this stuff. So let's go to the trim command and hit enter, and we'll just trim out this. This is the tedious part about this. There's not really a way, we can't array, a trim feature or something like that, but there we go. All right. So you're probably thinking that this was going to be a lot harder than it was that I just showed you. But remember that I kind of know I'm trying to show you how to approach this from a workflow point of view. Now, we're not done yet, but that's what we can do. Now, I am going to go back and I'll do this another time. Let's back up, back up, back up. There we go. Okay. So we could do all this together, right? So let's go to the array. We'll window this. We'll window this. Hit enter. Center point of the array. Look at that. Everything is good here. Close the array and trim out all this stuff. So if you really want to be fancy, there's a few different ways you can do this drawing. You could even get it all so that it's, I've done it before. Here's a challenge to draw it with the scallop features trimmed and then array it around there. So we do that. Notice on this, though, that these are curves. Some people misinterpret this because these are very short lines, that these are straight lines. They are not straight lines. They're part of that radius 73. Okay. So let's finish this up. The last thing we got to do on the drawing is we got to add in that little keyway right there. Okay, so that, let's zoom in right here. I'm going to draw a line. Actually, I'm going to draw a construction line from the quadrant. I still got quadrant on from the quadrant right here, like so. Now, why am I doing that? Because look at this dimension, 27.82 from the bottom there up to the top there. So I'm drawing my construction line here so that I can offset it upwards. Okay, so we go to offset 27.82. Whoops, sorry, let's try that again. Offset 27.82, enter. We pick this line and go up. Now I need a width of 6.5 on this, so I'm going to, let's see, what can I do to do that? Let's draw a line from the center here up to the top here, and let's offset that half of 6.5, 3.25. Whoops. Boy, fumble fingers today. 3.25, there we go. To the left and to the right. And now I can trim off all this stuff. I'll pick all this as my cutting edge. And then I can get rid of that and that. And then erase this. And go back, and I just got to get rid of that. And then there we go. Okay. So there's my finished Geneva Cam minus the center marks. All right, so let's get those in here. So first we need a big outside center mark. So I'm going to switch my layer to the center layer, and we'll go to the annotate ribbon, and we want to go to center mark. And do we want to grab it there? No, we don't want that. Okay, we don't want that. What do we want? What circle am I going to do? We want that? Nah, that's too small. Okay, remember I said these were curves. So we can pick that. There we go. That's what I want. Now we're not done yet because we actually need a center line going through the center of the slots. Okay. Now there's a couple ways we can do this. We could use the center line command, and we could pick this right there, and then we could grab that, and I'm going to grab the arrow tip and just drag it down there until it looks about right. Right? If you really want to make sure that it is a uniform distance, here's what you can do. You can draw a circle here, and I'm going to draw my circle with a radius of, let's say 4. Okay, and then that gives me a chance to draw. Is it going to let me stretch that there? There we go, right there. Okay, so if you want to get uniformity, that's one way to do it. All right, and we can go back around. We can click on this one and this one, and then grab that arrow and stretch it out till it's right there. Right, and then of course we're going to erase this. Okay, the other way to do that is, instead of using the centerline command, is to just draw a line on the center layer. So we could draw a line, we could go through that, and we could draw it at, this is at 30 degrees, so I want to make sure my polar tracking is on at 30 degrees. There we go like that. But now I got to extend this out here. So I got to go like this, and how far am I going to extend it? Right about there. You know, for my money right there, that kind of proves it to me that the center line command is the better way to do that. So I'm just going to pretend that I didn't show you a bad way to do it, and I'll take this, because this already extends nicely right there, and I'll just grab the triangle tip and stretch it into there, and offset. There we go. Grab that, grab the triangle and stretch it into there, and then do not forget to erase that. That was just a construction circle. That looks good. All right, so now we have exactly what we want. Our object is finished, right? We have everything that we need on there, center marks and all that good stuff, okay? Visible lines, and now we're ready to print it. So we're going to print it on the A4 border, which is that one right there. So I click on that. I'm going to double click inside, and I'm going to do a Z space E space, zoom extents, bring that in there. And now I want to set the scale. Ooh, it's almost at 1, so what happens if I get to 1:1? That is, no, it's not going to fit. It barely does not fit. That's too tight. All right, that's too tight. 1 to 2. There we go. All right, so we're going to do 1 to 2. Actually, no. Yep. What if we do this? Let's see what that one does. That one is, if I go 1 to 1, that one's even worse. So I think we're going to do this. All right. So we'll just go at half scale. That's really the only option. This title block takes up a lot of room. We could put it on an A3 border, but I mean, the instructions say to put it on a A4 border. In fact, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the instructions. We're going to put it on a A3 border, just because it looks a little bit better. Can we go to and I'll change the, can we go to 2 to 1 scale? I bet we can't. 2 to 1. Yep, nope, we can't. So let's go 1 to 1. That's good. We'll get it in there. All right, we'll lock that. All right, and we'll double click outside, and we'll change our title block and border by going up to the application menu, drawing utilities, drawing properties, and then we can enter each value in here, drawn by C. Bales, instructor, C. Bales, course, MDT 145, section 300. Whoops, I put an extra period in there. Drawing title, this is called the Geneva Cam. Drawing number 2.12M. Revision number 0. Sheet number 1. Material not applicable. Check by C. Bales. And we say OK. And we type in RE, regenerate, to update that. Everything looks good. And now we can save it and print it. All right, so I'll go to the folder where all my drawings are. We'll call this Geneva Cam, and we'll prepare our drawing. We want to choose the high quality print. Now here, I'm not sure whether we've done metric drawings yet, so with the title block and border, so let me just go through this. We can, this is an ISO A4, so let's find the ISO A4 right there. Okay, layout, fit to paper. Everything is good. We want layout 1:1. We preview this, and it looks like that. So what's going on here? Well, a couple things. First of all, A4 is a large print. Okay, so so that's going to be. Let's try the other orientation for A4, and that's also. So why is that behaving like that? Well, basically because these drawings are set up, the plot styles are set up for inch size. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to choose the equivalent, which is the ANSI B size sheet, and preview, but notice the scale change to custom 1:25.4. Now let's preview this. Whoops, that's not, let's go, I think we're going to have to do full bleed. ANSI B full bleed, there we go. There we go, that's better. Okay, so please note, we're going to have to print, whoops, I did architectural full bleed. Let's do ANSI full bleed. Sorry, let's get this right. Preview. There we go, that's better. Okay, so you're going to have to plot it ANSI full bleed B layout, and the scale is going to be custom 1:25.4, which should be done automatically. Can I go to, let's just try this, ANSI ISO full bleed A3, and preview it. Yeah, no, that's what we want right there. That's what we want. Sorry for being so confusing, people. All right, so let me go through this again. All right, we want ISO full bleed A3, because this is an A3 border that we're on. I think I chose A4 before, that's why it wasn't fitting. Layout and scale 1:1. Okay, so all this is good. Preview it. Looks good. Exit. And save it, right? And that should be, let's make sure it goes in the right folder. All right. All right, and then we can see the fruit of our labor right there. Looks good. Okay. All right, and that's that. All right, so you will hopefully have an easier time now that I've gone through all the problems with the printing, and be able to learn from my mistakes on getting the print right. All right, so good luck on this drawing, people.